Hello, everybody. My name is Gible, and I am your host for the post-Rapture recap of the finale of Golden Gate Season 2. So, if you're watching these in chronological order, I guess I kind of skipped over episode 9, but we'll get back there in about 2 hours when I interview the first person eliminated in episode 9. That being said, if you have not watched the finale of the show, please, this is your time to click away. I'm interviewing the sixth placer, that is the first person eliminated in the episode. Can't remember the competitions exactly, but this is your last chance. If you haven't watched the finale, head out now. Joining me for this interview is, of course, someone who will never forget yet again how to spell spores. It is Maddie. How you doing?
Rough. Okay, I know how to spell spores. I know how to spell it. It's fine.
It's just the number of letters in it that's the problem, I think, right?
I think it's just, like you think you have one more S than you do, and it's fine. And you don't.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we have a lot to get to. Spores being one of the more fun parts of the season. So could you tell us a little bit about what you did in the preseason? How did you study before you went on the show? And then what were your initial reactions when you saw the cast walking in?
Oh my God. So I definitely studied the show. I watched the first season maybe like 3 times. It was very entertaining and easy to rewatch as an insomniac who is just like constantly not being able to bed themselves. And coming into great format, by the way, just like I was so fascinated by it, and I was really excited to see how it's going to develop further in season 2. And when I got to the house, I was so surprised at the amount of people that I don't think I've ever known of as many people coming into an LRG. Like, they might not have known me, but I knew them. Like, I saw like Mike, not Mike, German, and Julia. I was like, oh my God, there's Ascendance people. And then there was John, Ben, and Trish. And I was like, oh, the Columbus people are here. I've just played with like traders with them. John played and they were on prod. And then there were like just all these like groupings of people. And I don't really feel like I knew like anybody or like fit into any of them, but I saw where they all were. And that was very it was intimidating but interesting. I felt like kind of like an outsider trying to like find what piece of the puzzle I fit in.
Yeah. Well, sometimes having the information is half the game. I definitely talked to
Sure.
Beck about how little she knew about the pregame relationships. So knowing it would definitely put you at an advantage. You don't have this big premiere episode, which is okay because you get to way down the line. What were some of the initial bonds or like enemies that you thought you made during the first round with Logan or not Logan? It was John as the
Yeah.
Ani.
So pre-game, like right arriving to the house, me and Beck pulled up like our cars at like the same moment, basically. And they were like, don't talk to each other. But like I turned around and I saw like this Marilyn Monroe, like fresh hair set. And she was like, hi, Beck. And I was like, hey. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be I knew, and we knew, and that was it. The end. We were gonna figure it out. Also, I would say I was really excited. I vibed really well with Julia, as I think a lot of people did. But I was really excited to work with her. And am I answering the question? Was I any like
No, yeah, you're good.
anybody? Were there any enemies? I wasn't very sure about John just because we played a traders game together, and like he chose like to side with Dr. Ken. I don't mean to give Dr. Ken like podcast time right now over me. And I was like still a little salty about that. I didn't know how he felt about me either. So I was like kind of like, ooh, I don't know. And then German I really wanted to work with as well. Just because I knew that he was I'd seen him on things and thought he was very entertaining and wanted to hang out. The end.
Yeah.
And Mike also, I really wanted to. I gotta give it to the Gates father. I prodded for him on a competitive events game, and ever since I just thought he's like the sweetest, the best, and was super happy to see him. Rachel McKenna I saw her hiding in the bathroom before the game started, and I was like, "Oh, it's LRG Awards girl. She's here with us. Whoa!" So it actually felt like a little bit of like a celebrity gathering in a way, like FGZ list celebrity, but you know.
Yeah, it's like I think you might be the third or fourth person who walked in on Rachel in the bathroom during the pregame.
I had
Um,
to pee, and we were all
yeah,
like, "Where was I supposed to go?" That was the only place. I was like, "You're gonna
yeah,
have to." She's like, "Oh, hiding in the bathroom." Yeah.
yeah. Definitely a note for season 3. Stop hiding the people in the bathroom.
I
Okay, so it seems like you also mentioned in the second episode that you were worried or skeptical about Logan, while Logan thought you were one of their closer allies. And then it also said that you were not the biggest fan of Trish.
oh,
Could you give us some backstory? No?
no, I said that. I
Oh
absolutely
yeah, yeah. Could you tell us like some of the reasons you were more skeptical of those two?
Yeah, so I think that with Logan, I did know Logan. I did know Logan for many years. Like I've played a million like online, like I've seen his face a million times, and I did not recognize him until like after he won that Omni. He didn't have like a beard when I knew him. He shorter hair and everything. So when you see somebody in person, that's just like those are like the little things that are gonna throw you off. So sorry, Logan. I love you. And we were vibing. It was like not like I felt in particular danger with Logan, just so much as like I didn't know he was kind of like less of a known factor for me. So I didn't really feel like unsafe or in danger when he won the Omni. I just felt like I had a better sense of what other people would do. Yeah, so like during the competition, I was like, no, somebody's got to beat Logan, and then he won, and he was like, "You're safe." I was like, "It's fine, that's
Yeah.
cool." Trish is a completely different story, and sister. I love Trish. Trish is great. Out of the game, I don't. I'm skeptical just when anybody if you're like, everybody comes in and they're like, yeah, I'm a pretty straight up, straightforward, like type player. Like I'm, honest as far as it like works. But so adamant, Trish is like, I'm an honest player and I'll die for my people. And I'm honest, honest, honest. And like, it's only like round 2. So we've been playing the game for like maybe like 3 or 4 hours. And how many, I've probably heard this like out of your mouth like 10 times. So I'm sorry, like you doth protest too much. What am I missing here? It just rubbed me the wrong way. In a game where we're obviously lying to each other and being honest with somebody is going to bite you in the butt. And if you're not going to be honest with somebody, if you don't want to show them that honesty, she just wouldn't talk to you. Like I did not talk with Trish that much because I guess she felt she couldn't be honest with me. We'll get to fast forward, but like we're sitting waiting for the results of the fast forward Omni, and she turns to me and she says, "Just so you know, if I win, I put you up." And I'm like, "All right, it's where this is the first, so it was confounding to me. And watching Trisha's game back, I'm super impressed with like what she was able to do that I didn't see, which was like principally like how close like her, Danny, and Ty were. But yeah, honestly, you would know it. I trust now that she's an honest player because if she's honest, she's not going to talk. She didn't talk to me about anything.
Sort of a loophole there. And yeah, I think you're on the same page as a lot of the people on Logan, and that the common thread I've heard is that it was unpredictable. Even if he was your ally, you didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know what it was. Just like it seemed Logan in being his first game, he wanted to like run a lot of like decisions by a lot of people, and like it wasn't really sure what he was really thinking, but like he definitely wanted like input, but he seemed not like as sure as himself to give me confidence in that he would stick to his guns and certain things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Worst noms, and I don't know. They were fine.
Okay, so during the overnight section, I think this is episode 3. It seems like you, along with most of the house, were pretty dead set on getting John out. I'm wondering, were there any like particular? We hear a lot of alliances that show up and then they kind of disappear. Were there any groups or people that you felt like you had a strong like group alliance with after or during the overnight phase?
Yeah. So number one is Beck. Number one is always Beck. Number one is Mother. Number one is Steady Eddie. And be- between you and me, Steady Eddie for me always only
Anyone?
meant me and Beck. And whoever she wanted to say it was in front of whoever, I was fine with letting her say that. But Beck for sure. Going to bed on night one, I believe HGC was downstairs. So I was on the HGC hunt that night, as well as the John hunt. I was trying to set up HGC while John was already dead the first time. And because of what I had heard about HGC being like drunkenly like those three in the corner about me, Danny, and German, I felt strong with Danny and German at that time and felt like exposing to them that it was known that Chris had said that would bring us closer together in trying to like be like, they're saying that about us. We don't need distance. We just got to get rid of him. And we'll see how that worked out. I don't really know. But Danny and German first night, and then yeah, those
Yeah.
were who I felt like my top people were. I don't feel like I was super close to yeah, I like Julia. I didn't really have a strong connection with Ty. Yeah, those.
Yeah. No, I realized I should have crafted up a better intro line because this is in episode 4 you get called a Neanderthal, or I guess maybe in 3. And it
I
loops back around at
personally,
the
I
end,
feel
right?
like we as a group do. I don't think that was directed at me. It was anybody who didn't vote for John to stay, which was nobody.
um, yeah, so you have the Thai, Julia, Denny, and German alliance, along with being in Beck's core 5 and core 3. So it seems like, I mean, I think this is the round where I really skyrocket you towards the top of the rankings. You can double
As it
check on it. Um, you do throw this first Omni or the Omni for the first time in episode 4. At least we hear about it. Did you have this is something I talk about a lot. Did you have a thought that you wanted to throw more competitions? Because it doesn't seem like you talk about throwing a lot, and everyone else talked about they threw pretty much every competition for the first half.
Yeah, they sure did. I don't remember which Omni this was.
This is the way off. It's the Weight Watchers.
Oh, well, okay. So like this was one where it's like, how do you know? Like this is so random. Like it's really hard for people to, as much as they say they were throwing or trying, like you're putting marbles in a cup and comparing it to like a thing. So like I do not think that anybody is naturally skilled at this. Just saying. So I will push back against the idea that anybody was truly throwing or in it to win it. I, however, was not super like I was adaptable. I wanted my game to be fluid, and if I won Omni, I would have been happy to win Omni and go down to the gates and leverage and adapt my game and positioning to that. Did it work out ever? No. Did I throw a couple of them where it felt particularly like I didn't need to, like episode 4? Absolutely don't think that I needed to win that. No, didn't need it. But I was still trying. I was trying for most of the competitions. And I just it was easy to say that I was throwing when everybody else said that they were throwing too as well. So but no, I guess that makes me look like even worse than I actually performed. But no, I wasn't throwing.
Yeah. We'll have to run the stats on how many competitions each person won when they weren't throwing. But then again, everyone just says they're throwing if they lose. Okay,
That's what I
so yeah, I you have this very close relationship with Beck, and I write down in my notes that Beck is doing all of Maddie's dirty work. After you seem like the one who's most adamant on Koa and Chris staying in the game. but Beck was the one who was really pushing for it. Did you realize in the moment, or like when did you realize that there was going to be backlash of this? Because we see from every other perspective that people are starting to get mad at Beck for keeping them both in the game.
I didn't. I didn't think about it at the time. I will say that I saw Noah and Chris fighting or whatever, which was spurned on by Ben and also myself. I think that I will say after a certain point, and when I saw it happen, I was just like, it's not so much that I wanted Noah and Chris to keep fighting so much as like Chris was dead in the water at that point, and we did like have a relationship that I felt was positive, despite like him inebriating illegally, saying my name in the corner. I felt like we were good, and I felt like he, given any opportunity, would have been loyal to me and Beck if we were to save him. So I felt like he would have been a better number than either Rachel or Noah. I felt like Noah had a lot of people on his side for some reason that I don't think that I'll ever know at this point. And Rachel, I think, has stated a couple of times that at this point, if she had won Omni, that I would have been her target and that she was working very closely with Danny. And so while I don't felt like me and Rachel necessarily had an alliance, she was definitely more against me, I'm learning later on. So while it was more of a move for me to keep Chris in the game, I don't think that getting Rachel out was that bad in retrospect at all. And yeah, I remember telling Beck, I was like, we need to keep Chris. He's going to be loyal to us. And I told Chris right after Beck and I break and she goes to that room where she's telling everybody, and I go outside and I tell Chris, I was like, I think that you're going to be able to stay. Like, don't say anything else for the rest of the round. Like, just don't say anything. Be quiet. Like, I got you. It's going to be like fine. And so I go into the room and everybody seems on board with it. Like, there's not that much verbal pushback if you're watching it. It's much more like in the confessional. So people were not like really forthcoming in like Beck was talking like spiritedly, but I wouldn't say she was like, I'd have a memory of her being like, or feeling like she was being forceful in like a way that felt like she was bullying anybody into like doing anything that they didn't want to do. Everybody's decisions are their own and votes are anonymous. And if they felt bulldozed by her talking in an animated voice and me standing to the side being like, yeah, that makes sense, then that sounds like they weren't very like strong in their convictions and should have done something to make it flip back.
Yeah. Yeah, well, all great points. We do get to this fast forward, which you talked about earlier. Your name comes up 5 times as a nominee. It seems like you knew that Trish and it seems like you knew Trish would be after you, or at least you figured that one out later. Did you know that Danny, Ben, Julia, and Koa would all be after you too?
No, Danny is really shocking. Was really shocking to me. Julia was shocking to me. Like nobody. I like at that point. I don't think that anybody really connected that. Like I don't think it was because necessarily like I was pushing to save Chris. Maybe it was because they were connecting me more to Beck in that way, and it was like a duo type of thing. But I felt pretty connected to everybody except, I mean, like, I guess Trish and Noah didn't surprise me. But I was really surprised watching that episode back and seeing how many times my name was put on, because like that was not something that we learned at the time. So I'm just happy. I'm surprised Ty didn't. So great. Happy Ty didn't, and he counted those balls up real good. Great. I'm so glad that I smoked him up that last night.
Yeah. So I think this is the round. Were you were one of the people who like half promised their vote to Logan, right? Am I correct in that?
In round 5 in the fast forward?
Yeah.
where he goes.
Yeah.
Yes. I did. I was kind of waffling on it. I think that I was pretty honest in saying that I was kind of torn where my vote was going because multiple people were asking me for it. But also I was like, after the round where Rachel goes, there like was, well, there wasn't like the feeling like this is wrong while it was happening. There was a vibe shift like after, where I don't think I could like put my finger on exactly what it was, but a feeling of like, yeah, Beck doesn't have as much power in the game anymore. Like, I'm like kind of not like really, I felt like a little so I was not really sure what the best save was in that situation. Because it was Logan, it was Chris, and it was
Logan, Chris, and German.
yeah. So I was like, yeah, at least German didn't put me in. That's nice. Yeah. So in my mind, like German was still like my closest ally out of the three. I had already saved him twice, but also I knew that he was already staying because people kept saving him. It was like, after I saw that you were already going to be saved, I'm not voting to save you anymore. That's kind of how I operated in the game. Unless it's like except towards the end. But I Noah, I forget what I was talking about, man. With the
Yeah.
translation.
No, you're good. So yeah, Logan does end up going home, and then we get to play the Golden Gates Bridge. Could you tell us about how cold was it really out there? Because it seemed like you, along with other people, kept making unforced errors. This is the bridge game where you have to go like left, right, up.
Oh, I didn't make any errors.
I'm pretty sure you did on the round that you eliminated yourself. It was like I could be wrong, and we'll review the footage.
Okay, we'll review the footage. Yeah, I mean, like, I stepped on all the right ones until it was like the next one, and it was just, I don't know what, I guess I don't know what an unforced error is.
It's we already knew the correct answer and you picked the wrong one.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Okay.
Not me, not
I'll
me.
review the tapes and I'll text you after.
You will, yes, you will. No, I was fine. It was cold. It was cold, but I was paying attention, and I got unlucky twice. It sucked. I was really paying attention to the lineup and what order we were going in and who was going to be set up well. Should I not get it on my time? So I was watching out for that. It really sucked to be the one person to have to eliminate people from the competition twice. And yeah, it felt so dumb in the moment. Like, Beck winked at me and I was like, okay, like, wait, you don't want to be Omni. Okay, I guess I want you to be voting. So I don't want you to be Omni. That makes sense. But then people are going to look at me and be like, okay, you just eliminated Beck. What are you? That's so fake of you. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that type thing? See, it felt disingenuous to do. But also smart at the same time. I don't know. And then, yeah, I didn't want to be on anybody's bad side. I wasn't going to eliminate anybody else left who could win Omni and put me up. Oh, wait, no, they wouldn't have been able to. I didn't want to rub any more people the wrong way that I obviously had been. So I was trying to, like, be like, oh, guys, I'm going to stay up here. Like, my philosophy going into the game, while I wasn't throwing competitions, was that obviously it's always better to be voting than down in the gates, because then you're, building the relationships and the trust and doing the actions and the things and being there for the people that you want to work with, as opposed to being safe. So I was fine taking myself out of that competition. I didn't know how close I was to being put in the pits that round. But because I was very happy that Julia won, I was super excited for her.
Yeah. Well, I think Julia starts. I don't know if I would say mad, but she starts getting turning against you. Because she said that you wouldn't tell her who you're prioritizing.
Yeah, that's so weird to me. She was a absolute mob boss in that conversation. I would say, like, you're totally not wrong in that she was mad. Like, she seemed, I would characterize in that moment, like, I was like, oh, Julia's mad. Like, she's mad at me. I didn't feel like Julia was someone who was prioritizing me at that point, necessarily at that point in the game. So I thought it was kind of rich, like her positioning it in that way. Like, yeah, she had the power, so whatever, she could do it. But she hadn't really done anything for me lately. Like, you know what I mean? Except like vote the way, be the swing vote to send Rachel out that she really didn't need to be. So I think she was mad about that for herself. But that was my chance to, like, I don't know, like, prostrate myself and just like humble myself and try to lower my threat level to her. But I'm so sorry, man. Like, I didn't think about it that way. Like, I totally see what you're saying. Like, and I can see what she's saying. Like, maybe I wasn't like, was I thinking about her game when Rachel went home? No, I didn't know what kind of relationship she had with Rachel. I didn't care what kind of relationship she had with Rachel. So no, I guess I wasn't, because nobody's really prioritizing anybody else in the game, like, truly, except themselves. So whatever. I did whatever I had to do in that moment to make sure that Rachel felt that I was prioritizing her. Or Rachel, Julia. She's on my mind. Ploop Goobens. And so Julia was a great Omni. She played that round really, really well. She threatened me that she was like, if you vote to save Chris this round, like, you're toast, like, blah, 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 because I'd already done it twice. And I was like, I mean, like, yeah, makes sense. In retrospect, probably would have been super helpful to keep Chris around. But yeah, she was great. She was great there. I think that wait, can we spoil? Are we spoil? We're in spoiler.
Yeah, no, this is all the way up to the finale, so you're good.
This is a moment where, like, I thought back on, like, in the jury and was like, oh, this is what, like, part of what locks in my vote for Julia. Like, she just, like, she was so good. She was so good. I loved it, but I hated it, but I loved it.
Yeah. Sorry, I lost my notes. So could you tell us what it was like having to wear the spacesuit for a couple episodes?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think I talked about my feelings on that pretty clearly in the episode. I think that it was tight. It was not breathable. It was really, like, hot in there. It was not super comfortable. And it made my butt look really good. I was so grateful for the little boing edit. If anything, nothing else came out of the Golden Gates experience. I have that forever. And I'm just grateful they didn't make me sleep in it, because that was overnight. That would have been disgusting. There was no circulation. It was fine. It was fine. It was fine. I just kept, like, trying to figure out, like, cute little ways to, like, redo it, like people with their little dumb, like, unitards on Big Brother. Like, I was like, I'm gonna tie it around my waist now. I'm gonna, like, zip it, unzip it. I'm gonna have my, like, helmet, like, half a flip thing. Like, you know, it was fun. I liked it. It was great.
There were worse punishments to have, I think.
There were worse ones. And, you know, my main thing, it motivated me. I was like, 3 rounds. I was like, that means 3 rounds where you have to survive because you're not getting eliminated in an astronaut suit. So that it was a huge motivating factor. Yeah, you should go for it. You should apply to the Golden Gates if you like humiliation in any way, shape, or form. I was really excited when it came out and they called my name, because I did have in mind, I was like, it could be worse. Like, this could be worse. And then it got worse. So I'm like, they got me out of the way, thank God. And I think that the Dark Council knew that I was going to have a fun time with it. So it was fine.
Yeah. Okay, so could you talk about what, because I've heard this has both been a hellish comp and a fun comp. What was it like playing the art gallery game and having to run back and forth and memorize those long ass names?
It was long. It was late. This was a late one. It was late. So, you know, like, what? Like, Noah's trash, German is drunk, Beck is drinking, Batty shot o'clock, and, like, I've imbibed a little, but, like, my memory is just not great, and also like I'm an English. I used to be an English teacher, so I am a stickler for syntax and like sentences that make sense. You know what I mean? And all of those sentences, the titles of they were so like just like my mind could not process memorizing something that made so little sense. I can spell, like that's fine. I can spell. But
Of course.
there were some really poorly spelled words in our answers. I was like, y'all, go back to school. I love you, Ben.
Yeah, open the schools.
Go back to open the schools. Stop the shutdown. Geez, bring back the Department of Ed. But yeah. That's not where we are right now yet. But no, I hated that one. I didn't understand what like the clues were asking for. There was also like this was not pictured in the episode, but there was a list of like things or objects like on like the doors to the rooms where the paintings were. And so like there was like a bank of like things that you knew like could be or like could not be in the pictures. And oh my God, I'm re-traumatized just talking about it. I felt so dumb. Just another one where I felt like I really felt like I really feel like I'm proud of the game I played here in Golden Gates, but I was really felt like I was humiliating myself in all of these competitions. They were ridiculous, unserious, and very difficult.
Yeah. In the next episode, we see Ben. Ben, I don't know if I would say flips on you, but he goes after all the people who've never been nominated. And I guess I might double check, but I think because you're the last name mentioned, you might be the last one nominated. If you count,
I was paying attention.
Seconds apart.
I was there, and I took note. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, use that one for your speech. Yeah, what was it like being on the block for the first time, and then I mean getting off the block? Probably 20 minutes later.
Perfect. Great. So who goes before that? Who is this?
So I mean, Chris goes the round before, and then Beck ends up going this round.
Oh, this is awful. It's awful. Shit. So like the twist of fate, I was not as entertained by as everybody else was. Because like it was like a long time they were just like sitting there like staring at each other. I was like, guys, just like do it. Like just do it. You know what you're gonna do. Like the two of them, I was just like, come on, let's get to the Danny. We know that Ben. I felt like it was clear that Ben was going to give it to Danny. Like just like in the initial like how the standoff was looking, I knew that Danny wasn't giving it up, and so I was excited. I was like, yes, Danny hasn't won a nominee yet. I'm gonna be safe. Oh wait, no, Ben. Wait, is this Twist of Fate? Hold on.
So the Twist of Fate is next.
We're still on the art.
Yeah.
Art. It's art.
This is the art game. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry, bud. We get so.
No,
much
you're good.
Okay. Okay. No. Okay. When Ben wins this, and I don't know how to feel because he's been in the gates for most of the game. I think he's out of everybody in the game this season, he's spent like over half of his time in the gates. So I didn't have a ton of time that I felt like I was talking with Ben. I feel like Ben mentions a couple conversations that we have throughout the season. But like I didn't feel like he was really letting me in whenever we would talk. I didn't like necessarily feel like Ben wanted to. I didn't know what Ben wanted to do. I didn't know who Ben was working with. Like he was like, yeah, we could do something. And I was like, yeah, let's do I got your back and like all the like fake shit, whatever. So I wasn't necessarily surprised because people have been talking for a couple of rounds about nominating people who hadn't been in yet. So I did expect it eventually. Being up for the first time against Julia and Danny was nerve-wracking because I felt like in that position, Beck was kind of like, I felt like Beck and I were like a targeted duo at that point. I felt like Danny and Julia had become more insulated than I felt like I was at that point. So I was very nervous going into the redemption trial. Feel like I probably would have not survived, depending on who the drag was. Like if Beck was the drag, I think maybe Beck goes there still. But definitely needed to win. Honored to be the last one in season 2 to be put in the pits. Great, amazing. Yeah. And to getting off like moments afterwards, that was a really quick competition. So happy that Danny had goggles on and Julia was just like generally incompetent at that one. What they were doing, like literally we had 100, like twice as many as the other group as balls, and like you just had to like move them and they just like all fall out. I don't know. I felt like I just lucked out because of Danny's punishment a little bit, but yeah, I needed to win something. I was so like just like frustrated with myself because usually I'm like just better at like games and competitions, and so it was like halfway through the game and I hadn't won anything yet, so I was just like, people don't, I can do something, guys, I can do something, because I was like, I'm not gonna get kicked out in an astronaut suit as I hadn't won anything like halfway through and I didn't win anything the whole time. I was like galvanized and motivated, so holy hole.
Yeah, well, I think you definitely got a good lineup for competitors because John's like the LeBron James of these random ass carnival mini games.
Oh yeah,
for some reason.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so we get to the twist of fate, the black marble game finally. So what are your thoughts on this game as a game design standpoint, and then what did you think of Ty choosing to take you out over Koa?
Yeah, so like I don't know. I thought it was dumb. I'm
not trying to dunk on it. If you, I don't know if you listen to the podcast.
Dumb.
Yeah.
So okay, I felt like I had a pretty like solid relationship with Ty at that point. I don't feel like I mentioned in the episode, like, yeah, I think like we haven't been like talking as much. Like maybe our conversations had gotten like a little like cagier, but I didn't necessarily think that meant the complete disintegration of our alliance to the point where he would say like, I want this person, Maddie, out specifically this round. That was surprising to me because yeah, would have rode a little harder for him, and probably would have. It was a tipping point. It was a tipping point for sure in my opinions of him. But also, I will say that for Ty, I was listening in like a room at a wall through another wall, and the walls were thin, so this was easy to do. You could listen to the laundry room through my bedroom that I had private just to myself. And I heard Ty's name like on the other side of the wall like multiple times. And I don't know who was talking about Ty in the laundry room or whatever, but Ty was like just top of mind for me in this round because I was hearing him. I was noticing, I was like, he's 1-2 omnis. I was like, oh, he's daddy, he's straight daddy baiting us all. And am I going to let that happen in this game? And is that what I want to do? Is that how I want it? His like threat level was rising for me, but I did not feel that I was a target to him. So I was surprised, and that only raised his threat level for me more. Obviously, when he took me out over Noah, I didn't know what he had with Noah. I didn't know what anybody had with Noah, and I'm still confused about what anybody had with Noah the whole time. But much love to Noah, that being said. And yeah, so that sucked. Dumb move, Ty. But I stayed up late after team bed went to bed, and me and Ty smoked up Ty one more time. You make him feel nice and sleepy to put him to bed happy. Before he was gonna get dragged down first thing in the morning. And big betrayal by Danny though. Big betrayal. Big betrayal. So mad. I don't know. I will say, generally, I can be kind of heated or like emotional during high pressure situations. I'm going to pat myself on the back for this game because I did not lose it at anybody one time. I didn't cry one time. Not to shade anybody who was crying or anything. Like this is an instance where I would have completely broken down in another situation, being like, I trusted you. Like, why are you doing this to me? Like, what did I do? And Danny was just like, I don't feel like you have like any connections. I was like, I thought we had a final three. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean I don't have connections? Like, so weird. But then Danny was like, we're going to win an Emmy for this. You're going to see. This is going to be the act of a century. And I'm like, what's the act? I'm on the block. What is going on? What act? What's your intention? And so at that point, I was just like, is there any intentionality going behind Danny's game? Has Danny spread themselves too thin to the point where like, I'm like a priority, but everybody's a priority. So nobody's a priority, which is fine if you're going to play for yourself, but it was not how they were pitching it to everybody else. So that was the start of like, where I was like, oh, I felt like you were kind of playing a perfect game up till this point. And now it's like the math isn't really mathing, and can you explain it to me? And I do like get down into the Golden Gates at one point, and we kind of talk about it, and it still didn't really make that much sense. Yeah, I hated that. That sucked. Rude awakening.
Yeah. So, I mean, what did you think when Danny said in one episode that you're a floater, and then the next one said you're too socially connected?
So dumb. It doesn't make any sense, right? If you look at like what I did throughout the game, like obviously I was super close to Beck, and Beck had just gone out. So if anything, like my loyalty should have been viewed as like, hey, I was loyal to Danny, right? So I at that point in my mind, that didn't check out for me. So I was like, I'm not floating. I'm with you, and I still felt like pretty close to German. And Julia, even though like whatever happened the last round, that's where I felt like after Beck that's where I felt like I had to be. And yeah, that's where I felt like I had to be, and I didn't feel like I had anywhere else to go. So it was like, floater, okay, fine. I guess like you can say whatever you want. It didn't make sense, like, because I mean, it didn't make sense. I was very clear on where my loyalties were. I went out on a limb to save Chris multiple times. I like Beck was my number one, and I think that people knew that getting rid of Beck should have been easier to work with rather than an easier person to take out, right? So that would have been my thinking if I was looking at myself as a player, as an Omni, in that situation where somebody's number one had just been taken out. I'd be like, how does this person get picked up potentially by me? But yeah, contradictions are something that I definitely look for when people are playing games, and inconsistencies are like throw me off for sure, and are the easiest way to turn people against you. So
Yeah. Could you tell us, so from your perspective, I think it would be you, Julia, and Danny, who are in the Raptured upstairs or downstairs or whatever it is. How much information did you have on what was going on? And like, did production clue you in that there was a tie? Or did they keep you completely in the dark until you came back up?
oh, we're on this is the double. Wait,
Yes.
so tie goes, and
And they have to call all the jury up to go and vote.
okay, yeah. So I think that Noah's not down there. Oh,
He's not, he voted.
okay. I feel like I was in the gates with Noah once, and he was just never mind. So Mike was talking to me in the gates that round, I remember. And Mike was like, some of the jury feels like a little burned by you, like thought that you had their backs. I was like, are you talking about like just yourself, Mike? Because like that makes sense, but I don't know like how anybody else would feel that way. Maybe Logan, but like I spent a lot of time talking to Mike outside that round. It was very cold. Nobody probably saw me because nobody wanted to come out in the cold. It was a double, and we saw the jury get called up. And I was down there, Julia and Danny. It was awkward. It was kind of awkward. It was kind of awkward because I was like, oh my God, what are they doing? It's just the three of us down here. And I was like fine with Julia, but like I was like, Danny, you've nominated me twice now. And then we had like we were trying to like bury the hatchet in like a way that like obviously wasn't going to be buried in any way, and so we were just hanging out down there speculating. I mean, I think that we correctly deduced that it was a tie and it was going to be. I think we figured it out. Unless were we told? I don't know if we were told. I don't remember. I was very. Was I surprised? I was surprised that Ben was safe. Yeah, absolutely. I thought that. I thought Ben was going to be raptured for sure that round, and I was hoping for it, to be honest. So
Yeah.
I was sad to see German come.
Yeah. So we get to the final Omni that you participate in, and you end up getting picked last, which seemed like an intentional pick by John. So what was the? It seemed. Sorry, let me rephrase. You knew that John was going to win that competition based on how he'd done that first time. Um, was there any thought in the world of giving it to someone else to try and have them win it, or were you knew that John would keep you safe at this stage?
So dumb. So dumb. Oh my god. Oh. So like, yeah, I sucked at that game. So I knew that I was not going to be able to win that game unless like I had like 5 minutes or whatever, and we were really like racking up the time. I was kind of bored watching people do it. Also, there was the factor of that as well. And John, like, I didn't have anybody at that point. So like I was trying to make any like me and John were like talking about like how we like might need each other more in upcoming rounds. And I was like, oh, this is a great chance for me to like make an olive, like not an olive branch, and we were like not on bad terms. But like to give something to somebody else in the game, and maybe I was like, if John's still here, that's great for me in the next round, not knowing how I'm going to get to the next round. But obviously he was the best at that competition. Like in the first round, he got like 2 or 3 balls in like 10 seconds. So I felt like it was his game to lose, and everybody else, like he probably would have won regardless if I was choosing him next or not. But it was definitely dumb. I needed him there that round. I think he would have saved me.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even think about the needing the votes. So did you know that? I mean, you were kind of cooked when it was Julia and who was it? Julia and Koa next to you.
Not necessarily. So I felt okay with Julia being in limbo wherever she was. I felt okay with that. I even felt okay with Ben being there. I was sure that I didn't have Danny and Noah on my side at that point. So it was really just kind of a matter of who was going to end up in the pits with each other, and who was going to not luck. It's highly skilled competitions and a highly honed set of skills that we all spend months training for to get out of the pits or like not be dragged, whatever. I did ask John before the ascension. I was like, just don't, if you're going to leave me off, like, just don't put me in the same group with Ben. I don't care about being safe anymore. Like, I just don't want to compete against Ben in the safety trial because I didn't want to be auto dragged. And so, yeah, apparently, I guess Ben and John made some sort of deal that, well, next round I'm going to do, Ben promised his jury vote or something to John in order to put him not in the pits, I guess. And I was like, well, how do you know he was going to stick to that, John? What are you doing? Like, he could have just said that. If somebody tells me that I'm not taking that for face value, that would never work on me. That's wild. But then I told him, I was like, you screwed me by putting me in next to John. He was like, oh, I didn't even think of that. Sorry, sister. But I'm sorry, sister. It's fine. It's fine. But with Julia and Noah, Julia did get me like in that. Like I did think that she was going to be voting to save me. Like 70% maybe, like, because did I know that everybody was seeing Noah, with all due respect, as the final 3 GOAT at that point, like trying to drag Noah to the end? Yes, and that was a narrative that I was trying to push against because I knew that Noah's taking my spot as that 3rd spot the whole time, and not necessarily that I would have been a GOAT. I would have been able to like make a great speech, I think. But I felt like people kind of, if Noah was there, I felt like he was taking my spot, and why would it didn't make sense, I guess, for I was trying to argue for a couple of rounds like Noah's gonna get to the end and y'all are just like shutting one of yourselves out of that, when I was really just talking about myself. And oh man, that was rough. And Julia does tell me at the end, she was like, we had a final 2, and that's like the last thing I hear like before I go down to the gates. And I'm like, oh well, damn, that was a good one, and it was a great jury management move to like whisper it to me like right at that moment. She was really truly masterful in how she handled people as they went out, as she had power, etc., etc. I will always be a Julia champion here, even though it does not like. There were a lot of like subtle nuances to her game that I really appreciate that we might not have seen the show, but we can guarantee that she deals with on the hill every day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't necessarily expect her to. I didn't expect her to save Noah. I was surprised, but I feel like it was definitely a better game move for her to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I do think like, and you can correct or whatever you want to this, but if you take Koa's spot in the end and it's you, Danny, and Julia, I mean, you have a couple jury votes pretty much locked in. I think Mike and what's it, Beck would definitely be playing feet now.
Yeah, no, I would have Beck's vote, I'm sure. I think that Shut up. Nobody wants to hear from you. Nobody wants to hear from you yet. Okay. So I would have had Beck's vote, sure, and Beck is very persuasive. I think that were I to make it a little farther, similarly to how she argued for Julia, she would have been arguing for me and not Julia. So, and I do think that there were people who were questioning at that point Julia's game. I think there's a possibility that, I mean, I don't know, ask the jury. I'm not really high on like that I win. I definitely think that I don't get 0 votes because I'm going to get Beck's vote. And she's told me that. So that's canon. But Danny might end up winning, and me and Julia might split more votes. I don't know. I don't really know, but it would have been closer. It would have been closer.
Yeah. That is all I got. I mean, is there anything during the season that you felt like didn't make the edit, or anything about your game that you wanted to highlight? Now would be the chance to do so.
Now would be the chance to do so, wouldn't it? I mean, I guess, what do I need to say? I think that the edit did a pretty good job on capturing what I was trying to do and trying to like be loyal to a small number of people, remain fluid throughout the game. I really wanted to like not draw any attention to myself in the first few rounds, which I think I successfully did. Unfortunately, the momentum took a turn against me in the second half of the game, and that final 6, I just kind of played myself out of it. I mean, I think Jason did a really great job at like, for somebody who wasn't like necessarily winning a bunch of competitions throughout the whole thing, at creating like a palpable storyline that I'm super happy with, and I think it's pretty accurate to what was portrayed on the show. So I'm so happy with it was a great finale. Loved the whole thing. Can't recommend it enough. Everybody should apply to season 3. Everybody should get a Plug Gubens tank top and tie-dye version as well. And yeah, no, I think you saw, you heard everything that matters.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this podcast, and of course, congratulations once again for being a finalist and playing a pretty damn good game.
Oh, I
Um,
appreciate that. Thank you, King.
yeah, I think you might have some of the highest average. I know Danny and Ben are up there for my winner predictions from the start.
Oh, I appreciate your little rankings. Thank you so much for having faith in me. That was
Yeah,
heartening to see throughout the season, as I personally knew it wasn't the outcome. So
yeah.
great. Thank you.
Um, I think I had everyone at the top at some point except for maybe Koa, but he'll forgive me. He'll forgive me.
Well, I mean, you were just reading the edit.
Yeah. Do you have any upcoming projects or social media you want to shout out here on the podcast?
I mean, you can follow me on Instagram if you want to at Maddie with a Y Wilson Sahadi. Um, Coming up next year, I'm going to be starting off in a really exciting original format venture of my own, and we're going to be a lot. You might see some familiar faces from Golden Gates on production for my LRG, The Family Jewels, which you can follow at. I forget it. Oh shit! Hold on. Wait, let me do this.
Kyle just texted me, what time are we doing the Maddie interview?
Too late. Okay, it is at The Family Jewels LRG, and that's going to be taking place, and we're going to be filming and making it into episodes next October, and we're currently casting, so it's super early, but like everybody follow and stay tuned for updates. It's going to be a wild time. That's all I
Yeah.
can say about it for now. Sorry.
Yeah. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm at Duck7Man. Check that out. I don't really have anything I can advertise right now, but again, thanks for watching. I guess we do have another podcast going on in 1 hour with I guess if you watch this, you know German. German will be the one getting interviewed. So look forward to that.
German, I loved you the whole time. I never said anything bad about you. Be careful what you say. I know where you live.
All right, thank you again so much, Maddie, and thank you, viewers, for tuning in. I have been Gible, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.